Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan, coming up in the next 30 minutes. US President Donald Trump says peace talks going along well after US-Ukraine talks in Florida. Says there is a good chance of a deal. Special envoy Steve Witkoff heads to Russia today. Trump confirms call with Maduro, details undisclosed, expands surveillance capabilities in Venezuela's neighboring countries, Venezuela's National Assembly to investigate US votes rights. Winter session of India's Parliament begins Monday. 13 bills including atomic energy and insurance to be taken up. Government to push reforms agenda. Death toll rises to 334 as Cyclone Ditwa leaves a trail of destruction and death. President terms it largest natural disaster, warns that recovery will take some time. Storm weakens into deep depression. And Virat Kohli's 52nd ODI ton powers India to a thrilling 17-run win over South Africa. India take 1-0 lead in the 3-match ODI series. Our top story, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio described Sunday's meeting between U.S. and Ukrainian officials in Florida as very productive, noting that work still remains to end Russia's war in Ukraine. He said there are many moving parts involved and that Russia will also need to be part of the process. The talks focused on ongoing military and humanitarian support for Ukraine. Special envoy Steve Witkoff is set to travel to Moscow on Monday, where he is expected to meet Russian counterparts for further talks. This week, Ukrainian Secretary of the National Security and Defense Council Rustem Umerov also highlighted the success of the meeting.
We had another very productive session building off Geneva, building off the events of this week. As I told you earlier this morning, our goal here is to end the war, but it's more than just to end the war. We don't just want to end the war, we also want to help Ukraine be safe forever, so never again will they face another invasion, and equally importantly, we want them to enter an age of true prosperity.
We were discussing about the future of Ukraine. We discussed all the important matters that are important for Ukraine, for Ukrainian people, and the U.S. was super supportive. We already had a successful meeting in Geneva, and today we continued this success. So at the moment, this meeting was a productive and successful. On the later stages, hopefully, we will keep you updated.
U.S. President Donald Trump also said on Sunday that talks about a peace deal with Russia going along well hours after Secretary of State Marco Rubio met the Ukrainian officials and expressed optimism about progress despite challenges ending more than 3-year-long conflict.
Well, they're going along, and they're going along well. We want to stop people from being killed. Doesn't have much to do with us, but I'd like to see if we could save a lot of souls. A lot of people are being killed.
Have you spoken with Rubio and Witkoff since
I have, yeah. I've spoken to them, and they're doing well. Ukraine's got some difficult little problems. They have some difficult problems, but I think Russia would like to see it end, and I know Ukraine would like to see it end.
U.S. President Donald Trump confirmed on Sunday that he had spoken with Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro but did not provide details on what the two leaders discussed.
We consider Venezuela to be not a very friendly country. They sent millions of people, really, and probably a number in excess of that. And a lot of those people shouldn't be in our country, from jails, from gangs, from drug dealers, from all of the people that came into our country shouldn't have been in our country, causing a lot of problems.
Does your warning
and drugs.
Does your warning mean that an airstrike is imminent, or should we not read it that way?
Don't read anything into it.
The New York Times reported that you had a phone call with Maduro. Did you?
I don't want to comment on it. The answer is yes.
And can you tell us a little bit
No,
about
I can't do that.
Mr.
Would
President,
you say it went well?
I wouldn't say it went well or badly. It was a phone call.
On Saturday, Trump said the airspace above and surrounding Venezuela should be considered closed in its entirety, but gave no further details, stirring anxiety and confusion in Caracas as his administration ramps up pressure on Maduro's government. When asked whether his airspace comments meant strikes against Venezuela were imminent, Trump said, "Don't read anything into it." Trump said he would look into whether the U.S. military had carried out a second strike in the Caribbean that killed survivors during a September operation, adding he would not have wanted such a strike. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has said the strikes are lawful but are intended to be lethal. Maduro and senior members of his administration have not commented on the call. Asked about it on Sunday, Jorge Rodriguez, the head of Venezuela's National Assembly, said the call was not the topic of his press conference, where he announced a lawmaker investigation into U.S. boat strikes in the Caribbean. Now, Venezuela's National Assembly will form a special commission to investigate U.S. President Donald Trump's deadly strikes on suspected drug trafficking boats off the Venezuelan coast and in the eastern Pacific Ocean. The congressional body's president, Jorge Rodriguez, said the investigation would look into a Washington Post report on Friday that said U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ordered all people aboard one of the boats to be killed during a strike in September. Rodriguez said, "We are going to carry out a rigorous and deep investigation," adding that the country's prosecutor's office would be involved. The U.S. for months has waged a campaign of deadly strikes against suspected drug trafficking boats in the region. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Sunday submitted a formal request for a presidential pardon during his trial on corruption charges. The 111-page request delivered to President Isaac Herzog marks the first time a sitting Israeli Prime Minister has sought a pre-conviction pardon while still contesting charges of fraud, bribery and breach of trust. Netanyahu, who has been on trial for 6 years, is attempting to end the case without admitting guilt and without stepping aside from office. Netanyahu said the corruption cases against him are tearing the country apart, and it was in his personal interest to prove his innocence in the ongoing trial, but the public interest dictates otherwise.
The state of Israel faces great challenges alongside great opportunities. In order to push away the threats and realize the opportunities, a national unity is required. The continuation of the trial is tearing us apart from the inside, is stirring heated controversies, intensifies rifts. I'm sure, like many others among the people, that the immediate end of the trial will help a lot in lowering the flames and in promoting a wide reconciliation that our country needs so much.
Netanyahu's request came as United States President Donald Trump pushed Herzog to pardon Netanyahu in the cases in question. Herzog also received a letter from Trump earlier in November urging him to consider the pardon. Netanyahu is up against 3 separate cases of corruption filed in 2019, which includes allegations of bribery, fraud and breach of trust. He denies the charges and has pleaded not guilty. Now, polling stations in Honduras closed on Sunday evening as voters and electoral observers denounced officials for turning away citizens still waiting to vote in a tightly contested presidential election. The National Electoral Council had extended polling station hours until 6 p.m. local time and gave individual voting stations the authority to remain open an additional hour. However, some locations appeared to close while voters were still waiting. The election to choose Honduras' next president for 2026-2030 term is a virtual 3-way tie between former Defense Minister Regime Monsada of the ruling leftist Libre Party, former Tegucigalpa Mayor Nasri Asfura of Conservative National Party, and television host Salvador Nasrallah of the centrist Liberal Party. The vote has been conducted under intense international scrutiny following mutual fraud accusations among candidates. The Organization of American States demanded a process free of intimidation and fraud, while U.S. President Donald Trump backed Asfura and threatened to cut aid if he loses. First results were expected from 9 p.m. local time. Now, Britain's Labour government is preparing one of the most sweeping criminal justice reforms in decades, aiming to clear a massive court backlog. However, the push to scale back jury trials is already sparking debate about fairness and the future of justice in the UK. DD India's Virat Kohli has a report.
The UK Labour government is preparing to unveil a major overhaul of the criminal justice system next week, targeting a Crown Court backlog that has surged to nearly 80,000 cases. Officials warn the figure could cross 100,000 by 2028 without sweeping reforms. According to the Deputy Prime Minister and Secretary of State for Justice, David Lammy, victims are being failed by year-long delays, with some hearings now scheduled as far ahead as 2030. More than a quarter of cases wait over a year, while in rape cases an estimated 60% of complainants withdraw before trial. The reforms are expected to build on recommendations made earlier this year, urging moving thousands of trials away from juries for less serious offences. The proposal comes amid a deeper crisis in the justice system. Prisons are operating at more than 97% capacity. Probation services are struggling to recruit, and remand levels have hit their highest point in 5 decades. Campaigners, however, warn that limiting jury trials could disproportionately harm ethnic minorities and increase the risk of miscarriages of justice. With serious crime indicators rising, including over 51,000 knife offences and more than 500,000 shoplifting cases last year, the government faces a tight balance between speeding up justice and safeguarding fairness. Rupak Kumar Jha's report for DD India.
And Sri Lanka continues to grapple with one of its deadliest natural disasters in recent years, as the death toll from Cyclone Ditwa's aftermath has risen to 334, with 370 people still missing. The storm, which made landfall in late November 2025, caused catastrophic flooding and landslides across all 25 districts. Central hill areas of Kandy and Badulla are particularly hit hard. Widespread floods and landslides continue to cut off several districts. President Anura Kumara Dissanayake addressed the nation and assured that the state of emergency will be issued, in fact, will be used to speed up relief and recovery. The Sri Lankan and Indian forces continue to carry out large-scale rescues. And DD India's Dr. Ahmed Muin Farooqi joins us from Colombo for more. Dr. Farooqi, what is the current situation right now? Give us the update on rescue operations there in Sri Lanka.
Yes, you see, rescue operations across Sri Lanka remain extremely challenging as teams they confront swollen rivers, unstable slopes and continued heavy rainfall linked to Cyclone Ditwa's aftermath. Yesterday, Indian Air Force helicopters, they flight repeated sorties airlifting the injured and delivering essential supplies such as food, medical aid and communication equipment to various communities. On the ground, NDRF teams are deployed currently in Puttalam and Badulla. They are trekking through deep inundated areas to reach families which are trapped in remote pockets, often navigating mudslides and debris. Local authorities have continuously warned risk of further landslides, while the emergency crews are working non-stop.
All right, Dr. Farooqi, also, how is the government and humanitarian system responding to the crisis?
Sri Lanka's national and local authorities have intensified relief measures and emergency shelters are ready to receive people. So humanitarian groups are distributing food, medicine and clean water and essential supplies for those people who are taking refuge. The government has made locating missing individuals and reopening access routes to cut-off regions its top priority for now, and officials are closely coordinating with Indian troops as well as the Sri Lankan troops in ensuring that the rescue operations continue. Despite the strained resources, the authorities are continuously working around the clock to ensure that the relief work and the rescue efforts, they continue without any delay in the aftermath of the cyclone.
All right, Dr. Farooqi, will leave it at that. Thank you for inputs. Moving on, India's Weather department said that cyclonic storm Ditwa is very likely to move nearly northwards, parallel to North Tamil Nadu, Puducherry coast during the next 24 hours. Red alert has been reduced to orange alert, meaning heavy rains with light thunderstorms are likely in 1 or 2 places in Chennai. The last group of Indian passengers stranded were evacuated under Operation Sagar Bandhu at Bandaranaike International Airport in Colombo following Cyclone Ditwa. In a post on X, the High Commission of India in Sri Lanka said the stranded passengers were seen off by Indian High Commissioner Santosh Jha before boarding an Indian Air Force aircraft to Thiruvananthapuram. India has intensified rescue efforts under Operation Sagar Bandhu, deploying helicopters and NDRF teams across the hardest hit regions. And the Indian Air Force, in close coordination with Sri Lankan authorities, carried out major rescue and evacuation operations in the landslide-affected Kotmale region, which remains completely cut off by road. Across the day's missions, IAF helicopters evacuated a total of 400 stranded passengers, including 6 critical casualties and 4 infants, and brought them safely to Colombo. These included over 30 foreign nationals from countries such as Germany, South Africa, Slovenia, the UK, Poland, Belarus, Iran, Australia, Pakistan and Bangladesh, along with Sri Lankan citizens. To reinforce ground relief efforts, the IAF also airlifted Sri Lankan army personnel into the affected area to support rescue and clearance operations. The scale and speed of these missions underline India's steadfast commitment to assisting Sri Lanka in its hour of need, with the Indian Air Force delivering swift, coordinated and compassionate HADR support under challenging conditions. India aircraft CU-130J landing in Colombo, bringing further humanitarian relief items. This includes about 4 tons of Bhishma modular trauma cubes, about 5 tons of medical supplies. Bhishma cubes are highly durable, rapid deployment, mobile primary health units equipped with diagnostic equipments and compact surgical stations designed for disaster situations. Some more updates now. The winter session of India's Parliament begins today with 10 important bills likely to be taken up for passage during this session. The bill include the National Highways Amendment Bill, the Atomic Energy Bill, the Corporate Laws Amendment Bill, the Insurance Laws Amendment Bill and the Higher Education Commission of India Bill 2025. In the Lok Sabha or the lower house, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will introduce 3 bills on the first day. The bills including the Manipur Goods and Services Tax, Second Amendment Bill 2025, the Central Excise Amendment Bill and the Health Security and the National Security Cess Bill 2025 will be introduced for consideration and passing. While in Rajya Sabha or the upper house, members will take oath followed by Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Bhupendra Yadav will move a statutory resolution that Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Amendment Act 2024 should be adopted in the state of Manipur. Overall, winter session will offer 15 sittings over 19 days. Government has expressed preparedness to take up any issue raised by political parties as per parliamentary rules. All the leaders have assured cooperation for the functioning of both houses. Thailand Foreign Minister is in India on his first official 4-day visit. He will meet External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar at Hyderabad House for the bilateral discussions. The External Affairs Ministry has termed the visit as an opportune occasion to strengthen strategic partnership and enduring civilizational ties. In April, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was in Bangkok, Thailand to attend the 6th BIMSTEC summit. During his visit to the Southeast Asian country, PM Modi added new vigor to the bilateral friendship between the two nations during a meeting with his Thai counterpart by elevating the bilateral ties to a strategic partnership. India's Border Security Force is celebrating its Raising Day today, honouring the world's largest border guarding force. The day celebrates the legacy of bravery, sacrifice and dedication, recognising the BSF Academy as a training ground where soldiers are moulded into tough heroes. It was on December 1st, 1965 that the first sector of the Punjab frontier of the BSF was raised with its headquarters in Jalandhar. A grand ceremonial parade marking the Diamond Jubilee celebrations was held at the BSF campus, Bhuj, Gujarat on 21st November. Union Home Minister Amit Shah paid floral tributes at the BSF Memorial before reviewing the parade. The parade featured 12-foot contingents showcasing the valor, discipline and legacy of the Seema Praharis. For the first time in BSF history, 4 BSF personnel executed a breathtaking skydiving display with a perfect landing in the parade arena. Amit Shah highlighted the force's stellar role in Operation Sindoor. Home Minister presented gallantry medals to the next of kin of the Seema Praharis who laid down their lives in the UN mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo and awarded President's police medals for distinguished service to serving and retired personnel. Jammu Frontier received both the Maharana Pratap Trophy for Best Border while management and the Ashwini Trophy for excellence in sports and training. And World AIDS Day is observed on December 1st every year. First marked by World Health Organization in 1988, the day raises awareness of HIV/AIDS and supports those living with the virus. The theme for this year is Overcoming Disruption, Transforming the AIDS Response. It emphasizes the need to not only preserve past progress but transform HIV services to make them more resilient, equitable and community-led. India observes World AIDS Day annually with nationwide awareness campaigns, community outreach and reaffirmed government efforts led by the National AIDS Control Organization under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Sports now. We'll start with cricket. Virat Kohli's record-extending century powered India to a nervy 17-run win over South Africa in the first ODI of the 3-match series in Ranchi on Sunday. A stunning century by Virat Kohli, a 50 by Rohit Sharma and 4-wicket haul by Kuldeep Yadav were the highlights as India overcame a tough fight shown by Proteas. Putting India to bat first, South Africa paid the price as Virat Kohli, KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma took India to 349 for 8 in 50 overs. Sensational 50s from Matthew Bretzke, Marco Jansen and Corbin Bosch kept South Africa's hope alive after the visitors got off to a terrible start. However, Indian bowlers held their nerve in the end and bowled out South Africa for 332. With this victory, India take a 1-0 lead in the 3-match series. And heartbreak for Indian men's hockey team as they settled for silver at the Sultana Azlan Shah Cup 2025. In a tight final in Malaysia on Sunday, India went down 0-1 against Belgium. Forward T-Bow Stock Brooks scored the solitary winner in the 34th minute. Despite fighting hard, Craig Fulton's side could not convert 3 crucial penalty corners. This marks Belgium's first ever title in tournament's history. Notably, the Belgians were the only side to defeat India throughout the campaign. Elsewhere, New Zealand took the bronze by thrashing Malaysia 6-1 while Canada finished 5th. Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.